Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Hill, and this is the City of Liberty Lake Parks and Arts Commission. It's Monday, June 2nd, 2025 at 4 p.m. And we're going to get things going today by doing the roll call. Commissioners, Nancy Hill, I'm present. David Heimbaugh.
Present.
Please note Laura Frank is excused. Katie Ferris.
Present.
John Barr.
Present.
Noelle Otterson Laparco, is she online? Okay. Bob Schneidmiller? No Bob. Just let me know if they appear online. Joni Hay?
Present.
Gary Edwards?
Here.
Welcome to your first official meeting. We're so happy to have you here as our new adjunct commissioner. And if you have any questions, be sure and let us know, but we can't wait to hear what you have to say about Parks and Arts this year.
Wonderful.
Thanks for coming. And our student commissioner, Audrey White.
Present.
And Audrey, we cannot thank you enough for your contributions this school year and being our student commissioner. And I know it's your last meeting because apparently school's out for the summer here pretty
Yes.
soon. So we hope you have a great summer and we thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's nice having that liaison, especially with Ridgeline High School and all the art and stuff that they've contributed to our program. Again, thanks. All right. And with staff, we have Tate Hunter, Mikkel Stevens. Is Derek online? Okay, well, Derek Kosanke may join us, Jen Camp, and I think that's it for staff. So we've gotten through the roll call. Before we continue, John, did you have an amendment to the agenda?
Yes, Nancy, I'd like to amend the agenda, add to section 5 presentation, a short presentation by Skylar Oberts, Executive Director, Spokane Arts Commission.
All right. We need to amend the agenda and John has moved it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll be adding Mr. Oberst to the agenda right ahead of the budget review. Did everyone have a chance to look at the May 6, 2025 meeting minutes? And if so, do you have any edits or additions? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Minor clarification that you did not call the meeting, so I called the meeting to order. So it's just a minor clarification.
Oh, on the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they didn't miss me. Thank you for covering. I appreciate
Very,
it.
very minor point of clarification.
Is Tate here?
She's not. I'll make a note.
Okay, we'll have that corrected. Thank you for any other things. I'm glad you read them. Thank you.
I did read it.
All right, do we have a motion with the amended correction? David,
I move that we approve as corrected.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion is carried unanimously. And now we come to our favorite section, citizen comments. And we have a citizen here today.
Yay.
Welcome. You could state your name and then if you're a resident of Liberty Lake or not.
Yeah, my name is Jim Baumker, and I'm a resident of Liberty Lake. I'm also on the Planning Commission.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. So 2 weeks ago, I was at the farmer's market, and I think, Gary, I met you there.
That's right.
And I talked to somebody else from the arts or from the committee, but I don't remember who it was. But we were talking about the county park that they just rehabbed
Oh,
at
yes.
the south end.
Mhm.
And so I was wondering, this is going back a couple of weeks, if there was some way that the city could work with the county to leverage some of the amenities at the county park as part of recreational activities during the summer months. And in the conversations, then the thing that really came to mind was the need in the city of Liberty Lake for swimming instructions for our youth. It's so important that kids learn how to swim so they don't sink. with all the, yeah, I mean, with all the lakes and rivers and everything else in the area, it's very important, I believe, that there be some opportunity for the kids to get some swimming instruction. Now, they used to have instructions, at the Liberty Lake Athletic Club. They used to have a pool there. They no longer have the pool, and so there's really not much opportunity for swimming instruction. I guess the closest place might be the Y in the valley.
I think so.
But I was just wondering if there would be a possibility for the city to collaborate with the county to have a swimming instruction at the lake, at the south end, at that park. I visited that with my wife a couple of days ago, and there's a perfect spot. It's got a closed-in area, it's kind of a little swimming beach. And I talked to some other folks, and they said, "Oh gosh, yeah, we learned how to swim at Coeur d'Alene Lake at the park there. They just took them and threw them in the park. The water was cold,
Yes.
but that's how they learned how to swim." And so it's just a suggestion for you guys to think about as a summer activity to try to have some kind of swimming instruction for the citizens of Liberty Lake. Now, whether or not the lake is the best venue, I think it's pretty awesome there. The other thought was, I think they have an Olympic-sized pool at Trutina.
Oh, Trujillo.
They do.
Is it Olympic size there?
Well, I don't know if it's Olympic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's probably not that big. But they have a pool there at Trutina, and that might be a possibility as well as a venue for providing swimming lessons. And then now, I don't know what happened to the instructors that used to be at Liberty Lake Athletic Club. I don't know. And I don't know if anybody in the high school would be like accredited to provide swimming lessons, but that could be an opportunity as well. Just thought about that. So, because you're here, but anyway, that was my comment. So just want to throw that out to you guys for your consideration.
That's a very interesting idea, because I completely agree that swimming is probably one very important skill we should all have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming and bringing that up. And you're lucky our recreational coordinator is in the house. So, and we are looking at increasing the number of programs we have. And we've even discussed other collaborations. So it's a perfect time to bring that up. So thank you.
Anything I can do to help, let me know.
We'll find you at the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Where I live.
We apparently, or we'll catch you at the lake.
Okay, bye now.
Bye, thank you. Wow, that was cool. That was a very good idea.
We have another comment.
Oh, and we have an online comment from a citizen. If you want to state your name and whether or not you're a resident for the record, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm off mute.
Oh.
Tom Solberg. Yes, I am a resident of Liberty Lake, and also another one of the people from the Planning Commission that seem to spend some time over with Parks and Arts too. Earlier today, Skylar Oberst and I had a conversation, and without going into too much detail, Skylar, they moved you up, so you're gonna have more time, which I didn't know that they would do. So. But Skylar and I met through a mutual friend who you folks just had make another presentation, which I think is her third. And that was from Karen Mobley, who is a past director of the Spokane Arts Commission. Skylar is the current director, and I made sure that, and I don't know whether you got a chance to put it on a slide or anything, but that you all got a chance to see the Spokesman Review article yesterday as at least an intro to some of the things that Skylar may be discussing today.
We don't have that information. I've read the article. I don't know how many others have seen it though, Tom, but we appreciate you bringing this to our attention and to, introducing us to Skylar, and who is going to be next up.
All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right. So we're moving to item 5, and we have our new agenda item, Mr. Skylar Oberst, who is the Executive Director of Spokane Art Commission. And what did you have for us today?
Well, hello everybody. It's so nice to meet you. Like you said, Nancy, my name is Skylar Oberst. I'm the executive director of Spokane Arts, and I'm really excited and frankly kind of tickled that y'all put me on your agenda so quickly. I just wanted to check in and to really introduce myself and the work that we do at Spokane Arts. I have a couple. I didn't put together a slide because I'm no artist. My job is to never tell an artist no, is how I approach my work. But I do have a couple of talking points I'd love to share with you if we have a little bit more time. And that is essentially Spokane Arts is a nonprofit organization that has been, oh goodness, I think we trace our inception all the way back to Expo in one form or another. We're a nonprofit independent organization that manages the city of Spokane's public arts program, as well as doing a bunch of other things, supporting hundreds of artists annually, stewarding one of the most inclusive and transparent public art grant making processes in the state. Our team really focuses on creative placemaking, projects, murals, artist residencies, festivals. I mean, all the good stuff that we all love when we see in our region. And we've recently expanded. I'm happy to announce y'all are the first to officially know this in the minutes. We're expanding our focus to become more of a regional resource, recognizing that creative folks and the creative economy doesn't necessarily stop at a city limit line. And we believe that looking to your wonderful example of work that you've done in your community, we would just love to come alongside and create robust partnerships, thinking creatively on how we might make our community and our region a little bit more vibrant and I don't know how to say, maybe more colorful. Whether it's sculptures in parks or even just murals in commercial zones, we stand ready again to move forward in this new role as kind of a convener of the region and to work alongside the work you do and to amplify it, which is our mission, to amplify the arts in the region. And especially in light of our new relationship that seems to be evolving with the city of Spokane, we are actively expanding partnership opportunities, and our goal is to offer those services and all of our expertise and just to make new friends. And that's honestly all I have, friends, is just to let you know from me where we're at. I believe in honest and authentic collaboration and making sure that everybody has the most accurate and respectful information about what's going on. So I just thought I'd pop in to totally derail your meeting and to say hello. And hopefully I'll get to meet all of you and work closely with all of you in the coming months and years.
I thank you so much for coming. I had a quick question for you. We're a small city here and a small group of volunteers, and we've done or a call for qualifications for 2 of our major projects this year, and we had, I think, 1 response. And thanks to the help of Karen Mobley, we kind of changed the language up a little bit, and we currently have that new call to for qualifications being advertised. But the bottom line is we've had trouble getting very many responses from artists that want to work on some of our projects. So I think the first collaboration would be, how can you help us get the word out and get a bigger artist pool as we go through and select artists for these projects?
It's a great question. And it's a wonderful opportunity, I think, to spend any time with Karen Mobley, who I kind of see as like my cool aunt, who I get to see every morning and we chat about things. So it's wonderful that you're working closely with her. She really embodies arts, at least in the city of Spokane, and the work that she's done. I would say shooting from the hip, Nancy, we would totally open up any information that you have about your calls. We would share that directly with our artist roster, which at this point in time, I think is 3,000 artists in the region strong. It'd be really great. We can even narrow that down depending on the calls to maybe muralists or sculptors or dance troupes. There's really no limit to how we can get those people on our arts roster and connected with you and all of these opportunities. I think we both can probably admit that our community, we always believe in paying our artists and making sure that they have opportunities for their art. And then just to have them in our communities, it's not necessarily just about the art that they produce, right? It's having them in vibrant communities and neighborhoods and rubbing shoulders at the soccer pitch and seeing one another at PTA meetings and probably even this meeting as well. We're really looking to expand our region to be more competitive as the creative economy, to be a place where artists can retire comfortably from being artists and all of the things that come with that. And I know I can't do it alone. I know that cross jurisdictional partnerships these days might be a little scary, especially with the backdrop of what's going on with arts funding in the United States and even at the state level. But I have a feeling that if we work together, we can really pool resources and really focus on maybe larger regional change to be something that, maybe what Santa Fe wanted to be 30 years ago. And I'm really excited about that. So anyway, I'm going to land this plane, I promise. That was my long-winded answer to your very simple question. Thank you.
Well, great. We'll try to get that information to you, and maybe you can start by sharing that call out and see what we can come up with. Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. Oberst? Gary?
I'm a member of the Kootenai County Arts and Culture Alliance, and we meet Friday morning at 9 o'clock at the Coeur d'Alene Chamber of Commerce. If you'd like to come and talk to us, we might be able to work together too with you.
I'd love that. You said Friday at
9 a.m.
Okay. And the location one more time. I'm so sorry.
What's that?
The location.
Coeur d'Alene Chamber of Commerce. It's downtown on the corner of Northwest Boulevard and Sherman Avenue.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope to be there.
Good.
Anything else? Well, thank you so much for coming, and we'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch with getting that information out so you can help us share.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a bit about what we're doing, and hopefully you get outside to enjoy some of that sunshine.
There you go. So nice to meet you.
Take care.
All right. That was interesting. That's a big
Yeah.
group of 3,000.
3,000. Yeah, that's
Great.
awesome. The
Our-
great resource.
Yes, excellent resource. Next up on our agenda is the budget review. So it's that time of year, folks, that we need to get the budget together. We all have our giant worksheet. And I think Jen's gonna be able to bring it up and we can adjust it in real time as we go through it. So for conversation purposes, we have our 2024 budget. We have our 2025 budget, which you can see we had some items are noted where we had to do a carryover year. And when I gave the council report last month, I let them know we're probably going to have carryovers again this year and possibly other years, especially on the larger projects. So we'll get, note it accordingly so it shows as a carryover and separate from the actual 2025 or next year 2026 projects. So you can see here what we've done this year. Jen, you really put together this sheet is phenomenal. And you can see she's made some notes in the red about what's been completed, what's ongoing, and where we are on some of the other projects. So then we'll look ahead at what so far is at 2026. For those of you that have been on the commission, last year when we were doing this, you'll see that we outlined some projects, we put some budget numbers down, and we did the same thing for 27, and then 28 is just kind of more of a placeholder because we need to have this new one run through 2028. So we haven't really done anything on 2028. So our goal as we go through the budget process is to focus in very good detail what we want to do in 2026 using what we have as a guideline. And then we need to at least have it 27 and 28 roughed out. So I don't know the best way to do this, but when we have the Liberty Lake Together art in 2026, if we want to keep that project together, that's going to be one that we had the carryover from last year that's still being worked on. We'll have an update on that later in the agenda. We have the Boulder Art, which has been on the list for quite some time. That was possibly going to be in Pavilion Park. And Jen, I don't know how realistic that would be, given the playground replacement project.
Well, I think the idea was it could possibly be coincide with the pavilion playground renovation.
So as part of it, so that we can, that sounds like an option. We could keep that up. The Pavilion Park ticket booth, yeah, as you know, we're working on the ticket booth now. So the ticket booth, continuation of the mural theme, that's probably doable scheduling wise for next year, I'm guessing. Smarty board, that was also in conjunction with the upgrade. And since that's pretty much, David, a quick turnaround, we could get that done even late in the year if the project was limited. So that's probably realistic. The playground is not our budget item, but it may go over budget from the in-kind replacement cost, which is what you have budgeted. What would that be, an ask from you, or would be that something we would have to submit?
I think it's going to depend on what comes out of the SCJ Parks Plan information, whether the citizens that are interviewed throughout this process are wanting more added to the playground than what is there. What's budgeted right now is for like in kind replacement, which really cuts the playground short of a lot of amenities, the way it lays out right now. If we want to go in and upgrade it and change it while we're in there, that's going to be a whole cost that somehow I'll have to work with probably our public works director to figure out a projected cost, because that'll have to be designed by contractors, landscape architects, whoever designs those, and planned out with a budget line item for all of that to go in to the 26 budget for this fall. But that would be on the CFP. That wouldn't be, it wouldn't necessarily be in the Parks and Arts budget, but the Parks and Arts would want to stand behind the recommendation, whether it's a like in kind replacement or whether it's a full upgrade and renovation, whatever that decision is. And then the capital facilities plan, which falls under the purview of the public works director, he can help us figure out cost and what number we should be putting into, based on whichever direction that's going to go.
Right. And that could be extensive if since like in kind is playground equipment for 5 and up, and we don't have anything for under 5. And if we were going to add that, which seems prudent, because if you're going to bring kids, you want to have options for everyone in the family, then it's probably going to be a complete refiguration, because it's going to take more space. And we have the splash pad and we have the Fallen Heroes circuit course that's there. So it could end up being a substantial budget item. So we would definitely want to support what the community wants. And, as we go through and work in conjunction with SCJ, the consultant, we'll get some of that input, and we'll probably work really hard on that at our Barefoot booth, at which we had started last year. But with Mikhail's help, we'll have a little more of a menu for people to choose from and what they want. So the responses will be more usable. So we'll go through that as we get closer. Beautification, that's been kind of a standard number, and we usually have a few things that would fall in that. Programming, that's also been kind of a standard number, which, we may delve into a little more than we have in the past. With the addition of Mikhail, we've already heard some of his ideas. We just had the citizen presentation here. So I know the city is looking to add programming. Then we have our new category of our community art, which is the goat statue at Town Square this year. And I don't know what our vision would be for next year. The trailhead beam is probably going to get bumped out again, because we don't really have a place for it. We'll see what happens potentially, unless you have another idea of what comes out of city council wanting to do with the Town Square area. What comes forward out of that. We have the new category that we've added as we add public art. We now have a maintenance budget in case something happens and needs a repair. And then our symphony fireworks, Winter Glow, of course, that's definitely going to change because there's a town hall meeting tonight after, in which the future of that as the nonprofit is pulling out. So what's going to happen there? That will be definitely a big question mark. That will probably drop off. So that's kind of our template, if you will. If there's something that's lacking from the template that we want to add for next year, or if there's something that we want to look at subtracting, and then when we find out, I think what our template items are, then we can start drilling down on what we want to do in each of those categories. And we can focus on 2026 right now, and then if there's something we know we need to bump, like the Trailhead Beam project, we can just automatically bump that to the next year and keep seeing where that's going. So let's start, unless somebody has a better idea, with setting the template for what we want, and then we can drill down. And you think we're
Yeah,
missing something?
we're missing story walk on here.
Smarty board is on here.
No, that's still,
Oh, story walk.
yeah.
Well, because you want to add more than the one that we're doing this year?
On the 2025?
Well, we're not doing one this year though.
I thought we might if they could have us in the
No,
fall.
they won't.
So that's gonna be a bump.
That I don't know yet. Never mind. I see what you're, never
Yeah.
mind.
Do you want me to add it to 26 with a question mark and carry over
As a
from
full
25?
Well, I have an email into Sal Lorenzen to ask if we can get it on the calendar for the fall or winter with install in spring. So, because even if it's made, we won't be able to install it.
So it's
Till
probably
spring.
regardless gonna be a carryover. Do we make a payment when they first start or not till the end?
I don't recall.
I don't either. So we might, theoretically,
let's-
we might spend money this year, but it not be installed till
Yeah.
next year.
Never mind. Let's just keep it on there. Never, it's for 2025.
We'll just add a note that there might be a carryover,
Okay.
just so
Thank
that
you.
we're aware. That's great. All right. Anything else lacking, Katie?
I was just wondering if the Pavilion Park rock art could be given to the playground extra equipment. Because that's a lot of money that maybe could be better.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If that could be better used with the playground equipment.
Well, I know the rock art was kind of more, if I remember correctly, because I think Laura was the one that initially had that idea because she had seen it, and it's more of an art. I mean, it's a functional art.
You still have the slides on that?
It, it's artsy, but kids can use it. So,
Oh, okay.
so it's a little different than what the playground, and since it's two separate budgets, I think we could just keep it in here because I don't think the capital improvements project budget is necessarily expecting us to give up something to contribute to that, if you
Okay.
see what I'm saying.
Okay.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, because we want to get the right playground equipment, and if we had to give that up, we could, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, but good, very good point. Yes, Gary.
So this Jim that just was talking about swimming instruction, I'm not sure what the process is because I'm.
Okay.
But somewhere I want to include some discussion on that and proceeding and to getting to the point of where we can get a subcommittee or somebody to come up with a budget proposal if that's what the commission wants to do.
Okay, swimming, and correct me if Mikhail, do you want to come up and have a chair so you can have a microphone when we need to pick your brain? We have extra seats. Make yourself comfortable.
Yeah, come on up here.
Come on down. That would come under our programming budget. And I don't know if it would be too late this year to start thinking about it, or it's something that we would look at doing, for next year. I know lifeguards and swimming instructors are at a premium right now.
I don't think it would be feasible for this year.
Wouldn't be feasible for this year. So That could be usually in our programming budget, since it's, just the $10,000, we don't spend a lot of time drilling down on that. And that would be something that we would get into discussion the first of the year as we kind of map out what we want to do. But certainly, I think if the commission has an interest, I personally would be interested in maybe you doing a little research and just seeing if it would even be a possibility.
Yes, I can do that. One of the things that I've come across, just for your all's information, in finding these instructors for these program, is the city's requirements for insurance. Most of them, they're typically fine with providing general liability insurance, but with some of the additional requirements working with children, there's higher premiums for abuse and molestation. And most of the ones I've discussed with so far, they can't afford that. And so that's the problem I'm coming across right now with these outside instructors, because they are required to provide that additional insurance.
And Mikkel, I was paying attention the other day when you were talking about collaborations. Would it be possible for Liberty Lake residents to piggyback onto a Post Falls or a Spokane Valley program using a pool in their jurisdiction, but we could still help people get registered through our system and
Potentially.
potential?
Doesn't the county have pools?
Yes, I believe the county has 2 pools.
They're not very close to here. One's on the South Hill, one's on the north side. Spokane Valley or Post Falls would be the closer ones for our residents. But I think if Mikkel, you wouldn't mind doing a little research about what it might take to do it, here locally, versus collaborating with another municipality that may already have a pool and instructors that we could have some slots in, that would be convenient for our citizens to, travel to.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Another question I have for Mikkel, could they be employees of the city of Liberty Lake, the lifeguards and instructors?
Potentially, but we'd have to check with what our hiring policy is, and Jen may have a
That's
better
something
answer.
that would have to go through the budget process, staffing, employees, staffing, that goes through the budget process when we do our budgets in the fall.
Okay.
And at this time, we aren't prepared to staff in-house as soon as next year, more than what we've got with Mikkel and the new rec coordinator position. We've talked about bringing on a second helper for him at some point. But to start bringing on staffing, I don't know that we're quite there yet. I think the better option would be to piggyback or
Contract.
coordinate. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, be a part-time employee, just a summer employee, like other city programs have. So it wouldn't be like a full-time employee, just be like
A seasonal
college
worker.
students in the summer, type thing.
Also, the logistics of that being a county park and we're a city, so how would we even have instructors out there? Would it be something that we have to collaborate with the county on?
Mhm. It's feasible, but it would be a process, probably some type of agreement between the city and county.
In your research, did you think that the liability insurance of participating or holding one of those events, an instruction event in the lake, wouldn't the liability be significantly higher than a controlled environment like a pool?
Potentially, most pools and most lakes no longer have lifeguards, and so that's where you'll really have some adjustments to insurance policies, is the lifeguards.
Well, Mikkel, if you don't mind doing some research, then we can have that conversation since we can't do anything till next summer anyway. We'll have plenty of time to figure it out and talk about it. Oh, yes.
Possible option is the Croc Center in Coeur d'Alene offers a lot of swimming instructions for school-age kids. So, referring parents from here to there, if we couldn't do it in this.
So does the YMCA in Spokane Valley, which is a little bit closer. Yeah, they have a lot of programs there. But Croc Center is also a good option. I know some parents prefer to drive that direction. Okay. Anything else as we start going through that? Do people like the template? Do we want to, do you want to start down it and,
Yes.
okay. So, and we don't have to decide every project today, but Liberty Lake Together Art, that's been up to about 40,000. You can see this last year, it was 32.5. And of course, that's everything costs more, the price of steel if it's a sculpture and that going up. Does anybody have any specific, not so much ideas because it's Liberty Lake Together Art, or I guess it could be an idea, but, or a location where you think that we're lacking art that would be. What are we looking at?
This is page 2. I'll talk about this
Oh,
at
okay.
the end. Yeah.
Okay. What are you thinking about Liberty Lake Together Art this year? I mean, our current one that's out for call, for qualifications, and Gary, this is for your benefit. This year's Liberty Lake Together Art, are you familiar with the Liberty Lake Together theme? I don't see the emblem. There's a little emblem that was made during COVID, kind of to bring the community together, Liberty Lake together. And so that just kind of symbolizes, our community being one, working together, helping. And so we just kind of use that as a broad sense of a category for art.
Okay.
So it's very wide open. And this year's call for qualifications is for a sculpture piece to go at the new Mission Kramer Parkway roundabout. And that's what we have the call for qualifications. Then our other big project that we have is community art, which is pretty much what you hear, community art. This year's project, which is the first under that category, is for a goat statue because of our connection to goats and the environmental weed control, to be in the town square park, sort of to greet people as they come into the farmer's market and to utilize, that parking area. And that's the other call for qualifications that we've had that I was mentioning to Mr. Oberst that we've had, didn't have a good response. So we reworded it and it's currently out for the calls. Is it till the end of June?
I think June 30th.
Yeah, I think it's the end of June that they have to submit the call for qualifications. So that is going to be a carryover project. That's not to say we can't start projects next year, because as I advise council, the sculpture projects, because of, what you were saying, David, are looking to be, done, but then they can't be installed to the following spring kind of thing. And it takes so long to go through the call and get everything through approval and materials for the artist and everything else. So those are kind of the big projects. The others on here, the rock art, that's just boulder art for a playground, the ticket booth. I think you've heard some of that, Gary, to get up to speed. The Smarty board, we have 2 of those now. We want to do a third. We have the playground, and then beautification is just like it says, graffiti barrels, benches, bike racks. Programming is more recreational. Trailhead beam, when they tore down the trailhead original building, a beam was saved and we want to do something for it, but it's basically suitable for inside display. So we're waiting for the city to get a building we can put it in, basically. And then we have the art maintenance, and then the rest of the items are not monetary items, they're just support by the commission for those programs. So any questions on that? Because I'm sorry, I should have explained that at the beginning of the process for you.
Well, it just takes time, so
Yeah, and feel free to ask questions.
thank you.
So back to the Liberty Lake Together art. Does anybody have something that they're interested in seeing, starting maybe with a location and what you might like to see there?
I like the idea of the city entrance. I've always thought that we've needed something, near the median as an example.
Like when we get off I-90 at the main exit?
Yeah, so at the median there, between Walgreens and whatever the new business is, the Chase Bank that's going in there.
Are you talking about the open field on this?
No, just the median there.
Oh, in the middle.
In the
Yeah,
medians, yeah. And I wanted to mention too that whatever site is discussed, I'll need to follow up if it's not city property, and there will have to be some process to get through to find out if it isn't city property, if they will allow it or not.
And-
But that, the medians are city property.
Do they allow something that might be substantial?
I don't know. So I think what we would want to do is pick 1 or 2 or even 3 potential locations and then involve the Public Works Department and the city engineer to verify that we can in fact do what is being proposed before we move forward. So I think
Because-
that's going to be critical.
Yeah, because isn't it true that right now, even though we have the call for qualifications out for the Mission Roundabout, that Public Works is doing some research on what size sculpture and what is allowed to go in there?
Oh, yeah, so Ben Turner spoke at the last meeting, and it's a conversation between the Public Works Director and the engineer. But they don't think they're gonna foresee any issues with our art being in that, as his update was, and you missed it because you weren't here.
No.
So, but regardless, we want to involve those 2 folks because building permits and can we do art, and it's just like everybody would think we could do art on or flags on the Vista poles. No, they don't allow that except in the one, situation with the hometown hero banners.
Mhm.
So we don't want to assume that we can just put art anywhere. If we did pick Trailhead, I would highly advise bringing in the Golf Pro for that. And then picking location again, there's a lot of underground power in that corner since they undergrounded everything in the last in the rebuild. So just thinking about those sorts of things and coming up with maybe multiple options so that we can shift if we need to shift. But the medians are cities.
So I think we should write that down. And then I think we'll brainstorm other options, and then at our next meeting, we can do it again. Because if we could finalize it like in our July meeting, or what month is this? June, July? When do we have to, the August meeting, we would have to finalize it
Yeah.
by? How is it June already? Okay, so to clarify, you're talking about the median as they come in, if it's allowed, or if it's not somewhere where it would be highly visible and on city property, would you see it as an actual real welcome word kind of thing, or as something?
I think a lot of us think, when you see those, you think horizontal, but in the median, it could be a vertical sign, which then doesn't take up nearly as much room. And you could just say Liberty Lake, doesn't have to say welcome, but I mean, usually the welcome signs you see are done in conjunction with Lions Club, Rotary Club.
So it's kind of more as a branding thing
Yeah,
to show
like
people they were in Liberty Lake and we're cool.
We have that at Trailhead on the corner there, but I think it would be nice if we utilize those medians there. Because just, as an example, I'm just envisioning, just a column that says Liberty Lake, in box letters or something like that.
Would you see it more as giving an artist some parameters where it would need to say Liberty Lake, but it could be kind of artsy, almost calling it a sculpture, but we would have more narrow parameters?
As an example, each letter could be a different shape or color, so it looks, something that's artistic.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like Riverstone has the feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love those
I do
feathers.
too.
But I mean, I'm thinking this wouldn't fit in a median, but at Riverfront Park, they have City of Spokane and the little kid building block things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, but because of the space there and the traffic there, it could be vertical, and you could say, as an example, Liberty Lake, and each letter is a different shape, perhaps a different color.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that.
I do
Okay.
too.
Well, we'll put that down as an idea. And maybe you can, between now and the next meeting, find out if there's city property available that we could put that into. And what other ideas do you have?
I have an idea about beautification. I guess this would also be at the Trailhead at the corner there. I noticed this year that you had the tulips under the electronic billboard, but the last few weeks those have all died, and it really looked nice with the tulips. But I was kind of expecting something more, maybe annuals or something that would really, I think people would really enjoy, but the tulips really look nice, but they all have just dried up and
So we haven't had a city gardener for several years and we just hired one about a month ago. And so he's going to be working on that corner. So you'll likely see some changes there.
and they also have another idea about beautification. I noticed one of the Vista electrical boxes, it was tagged over by Bellevue.
Oh, yeah, the medical care
Yeah,
place
yeah.
and Trailhead Cider there.
Yeah, it's been tagged, gosh, for a couple months now.
Where's it at?
By
You
Bellevue.
know where Trailhead Cider is and Appleway?
Oh, I did not know it had been tagged.
Yeah, and I think
sunflower one?
the longer it goes.
I can't think of what the name of
Not
that side
up,
street is.
that-
The library side street.
Because I noticed that the same tag has been kind of duplicated several locations around that. street.
I'll follow up on that. That's something staff would take care
Yeah,
of.
maybe if you see it, you should
Yeah.
report it to PD too.
Yes. Definitely.
You know, why you mentioned that, I noticed that the signal box at Signal and Appleway is, I don't remember, it always seems to look faded. Is that the way it went on, or has it been damaged by the sun? Does anyone know?
We'll take a look at it.
Okay.
That's what street? Signal?
Signal and Appleway
And the other one is
is that whatever.
Madison
Yeah,
by
that's it.
STCU.
Yeah.
The bank, STCU, not the big building.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes, but on the opposite side of Appleway.
okay.
Okay.
Thank
Very
you
good.
thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Very good.
Didn't know.
How about Liberty Lake together, Art? It probably is good to at least have two locations instead of one, but I suppose, you know, well, we could also keep thinking about it, but it's a great idea. We could always move it around to whatever location that worked. Katie?
Yeah, I had an idea for like functional art. I was noticing at Orchard Park where the tennis courts are.
Uh-huh.
There's a perfect space on the south end of those courts that we could put some maybe artistic benches for people to sit and watch the tennis games and things going on in the park. I've seen that at other parks and people would love that, you know, walking through the park, they want to watch maybe Selkirk tennis or whatever. There's, you know, not everybody can sit on the ground, like seniors, disabled people, just families with young kids. There's a space there that goes along that south end of the courts all the way to the basketball court that could have benches.
How many benches would we be talking about?
Well, it'd be great to have quite a few.
So we might be talking about more than beautification because that's
Yeah.
only 10,000. If we squeezed it into like a community art program where they were artists were
Yeah.
involved in their design and there was a number of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen different benches that have kind of artistic
Mhm.
backs with, you know, leaves and different things like that, that could be more than just a standard bench, or maybe, you know, there's different options, but
Would you want to
like
put,
there's 6-foot bench. I kind of looked at some of the benches that, you know, you can get, and they're anywhere from, for a 6-foot bench, $600 to $1,000 just for, you know, like a standard bench.
Mhm.
But, you know, you might maybe want 6 benches along there. You know, we'd have to kind of look at the area.
We've actually had multiple requests from citizens and our own staff to actually put a fence along there because the balls roll over the court and into the parking lot. And we have people chasing their basketballs into the Indiana. So along with that, we're probably going to be looking at budgeting something for fencing along that south corridor of that basketball court for the next year or two.
Were you talking about the benches being on the north side?
No, the
South
south
side.
side where you look through the fence at the tennis games going on.
But potentially we could
Yeah.
either put the fence there or do something artistic
there's
where
already
the
a-
bench could
yeah.
actually provide the block for the balls rolling.
Are you talking about the basketball court?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm talking watching the tennis courts, but you could also
Yeah.
have some along the basketball
Mhm.
court side too, on the south end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be a community art project because it would be expansive enough not to be just beautification and it would have some artistic flair to it and to some extent, I mean, it could even be a functional art fence with benches, I suppose, if there needs to be some kind of a barrier.
Yeah, on the tennis side, I don't think you'd need a fence. She's talking about the basketball that
Right.
doesn't have any fence at all, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that's under community art then, pavilion, park.
That's Orchard Park.
Oh, Orchard Park. I have Pavilion Park on the brain. Orchard Park, thank you. And that's benches. And then that would be, and possibly some kind of barrier. We'll have to get a better idea maybe as we drill down on this, Jen, if Derek could take a look and make a recommendation for like how many feet of fence if we went an artistic barrier route and you know, number of benches to watch tennis and basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
and
I
then we'd
think
have
it'd
that
be
information.
Well used.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people there, especially on the weekends.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Certainly worth researching a little bit and drilling down into. What else have we got, folks? Gary?
Well, if we're brainstorming, then I guess I would say that I like interactive art that people can touch and
Mhm.
sit and maybe bang on a gong or something and make a little tune.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my idea.
Yeah, I love interactive art. And that's kind of what we were hoping to do with our goat sculpture.
Yeah.
We want, one of the things is we want it to be kid friendly to do selfies with or touch but did you have an idea for anything specific?
But I was just thinking about that goat in Spokane that eats recyclable trash.
Yeah, we've had that conversation.
People love that.
Interactive art.
That would be awesome to have something like that here.
All right, what else have we got, folks? Anything comes up off the top of your head? Because like I say, now that we've gotten this going, you can, you know, talk to your friends, use yourself as a sounding board and come back with some ideas, particularly for our two big ones, Liberty Lake Together Art, which I think David's idea is excellent. And I also like your idea for Orchard Park for the potential community art piece, but just want to keep going so we have all the ideas we need on hand as we make a decision. So it sounds like when we look at the boulder art, that would be interactive and that would be cool, I think. And we just need to see if that can be incorporated. So we could have it and then as that plan unfolds, we'll decide on that. The ticket booth, we still have more discussion on, so until we clear that up, I think we're good just leaving that as it is. The Smarty board, was that about the cost it came in under, David?
Say that again.
The 3,500, was that about the cost
Yeah,
of the Smarty
That
board?
would work.
Okay. The master plan beautification, certainly we can drill down on that with John's ideas and anything that we can help in that respect. And then programming, Mikhail's going to do the research, community art. Derek will look into that a little bit for us. The beam we've discussed. So if we just scroll down to 2027, the initial ideas when we did this last year was to extend the mural around the corner or do something interactive. So that's, we don't have to drill down a whole lot on that. We just have to see if there's anything we want to subtract or add. Again, the pretty much standard categories, which I don't necessarily think.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So does programming include like summer concerts one night a week or are we talking about live music anytime in this budget besides the symphony?
We haven't traditionally, other than the symphony and the Winter Glow and fireworks. And those have come through the commission because they're contracts that need to get approved by council. And so those have come through the commission that way. Our events are heavily co-sponsored with other groups. And so they really are the heavy hitters in that. Not that we certainly couldn't do some introduction into local concerts or whatever. We haven't had the capacity for staff to organize.
There is music at Barefoot, correct?
There is, but Kiwanis manages all of the music for the 4th of July and at Barefoot.
Did your mic die?
Something, okay. So Mikkel is actually going to talk about a winter event, so hold that thought. Hold that thought because this would be a new event. It's further down on the agenda that we're going to propose, and that could definitely be a programming opportunity for the commission to weigh in financially through this line item to contribute to that event. And it could be things like live bands, and I'm not going to steal his thunder. So, yeah.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we brainstorm specifically for the two major categories, the Liberty Lake Together Art and the community art? We'll get multiple ideas, understanding we'll probably only be able to do one in each category, but what we don't do, we could use for the following year so that we don't let a good idea go to waste and carry things down. And so I think unless somebody has something very specific they want us to see, I think this next month is think about it and come back and we really put all that down. I think that's a great start with what we have, and we'll get some more information on that and move forward. But if we don't have anything else, I think we'll go ahead and move to the next option, next agenda item. So anything else on budget for now? Okay.
Can I mention why I passed this out?
Yes, please do.
So I believe it was David Heibaugh that asked me several meetings ago, and I didn't have the answer. What this is on the left, it shows every year that the commission has been in existence and what was budgeted on the left under budgeted amount year to date and what the commission actually spent out of their budget. Then on the right, in those same years, if you follow the line across, it'll show you what the value of our sponsored projects was. So this was STCU donating funds to our utility box wraps, for example. Donated actual art pieces, such as the sculpture out in the front lobby, the value of those. And then donated, what was sponsored projects? And then donated the actual funds, dollar amounts that were donated to the city. In 2020, we had the Pavilion Art Mural. We had a donor donate $72.50 in an actual cash donation to the city. So this kind of shows you year by year what we've been allotted in a budget, what the commission has spent, what's been contributed by other sources through sponsorships and donations. And I just thought it was kind of interesting to put it all together.
And I'll remind you, in 2024, we're dramatically underspent because our two primary projects were carryovers. So we will spend that money. But that's why we been trying to stay on track to spend the money and not leave it on the table. So, but the carryover is a very real thing for us with the large projects. I think it's tough to get stuff done quickly, and we really can't put out the call until we know the budget is approved. And so we're always in a time crunch, I think, but this is great information. Help keep us on track. All right, winter event idea, Jen.
Mikkel.
So an idea was proposed to decorate more trees in the community for the holiday season. But then the idea was to decorate some of the trees out near the road, which staff felt was a safety hazard, trying to get community members to be out there potentially in the road trying to decorate a tree. And so the idea came about that we have a lack of trees in our parks that needed replacement throughout the years. Some Orchard Park, for example, didn't get all the trees that were originally planned. Other trees had been removed, not replaced yet. And so the idea came about to kind of merge those two concepts together of replacement of trees plus decorating trees. And so the idea came about to potentially purchase a handful of trees for each park, a mixture of pine trees, not pine trees. And then community members could sponsor a tree in the regard of coming out and decorating a tree. So they wouldn't be, there'd be new trees. They'd come out and decorate them for the holidays, and people would come and take a look at them. And then they could either get planted before that or after. We're trying to work out some details now of how that would take place. But like I said, that was kind of a merger of two needs and desires that we had in the community. And so one thing we did is we don't have any funds for that. And so we were going to discuss that with the Parks and Arts Commission if the commission was interested in using some of that programming funds to purchase trees.
And you say that would be in the three major parks, and you were thinking, was it a dozen trees in each park?
Yeah, in that range. It's going to depend on cost.
Right.
So
What's the proximity to power in those?
that's the details that we're working on currently.
Yeah.
So I have some staff getting me maps where power is and then where trees need to be placed. And so that's kind of we're in that early stages of this.
And what, a rough idea of approximate cost?
So I don't even remember now. I think it's a couple $100 a tree. So depending on how many trees we purchased times that.
When we were saying the agenda, they mentioned it to me and I thought 12 trees in each park because of 12 days of Christmas. Somehow you would theme that in and maybe feature the citizens in 12 different days. So we'd have 3 featured every day, 1 from each park, and each one would have 12. But so if we used a rough price of, you said 200?
Yeah, let's say
200 times 36.
Mhm.
So that's 3,600. You know,
It was 6,000, over 7,000.
Yeah.
yeah, over $7,000. We have $10,000 unspent. I know we're looking at something possibly for the bike rodeo, which is not very much money, and I'm sure we'll get some information on that.
Do we know, since this is all kind of together, do we know what the financial needs of Winter Globe are?
There is no winter glow right now.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, isn't the intent of the meeting to keep it going?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I think the council is getting public opinion on what to do, and then they have to decide what they want to do and how they're gonna.
Yeah, because at the last council meeting, staff actually made the recommendation to not take over Winter Glow and pursue it. The cost is the manpower, the time,
Right.
the storage area, we don't have any of that. And then the question is, can you count on volunteers? Well, I don't know, can you? And we don't know that. That's a huge unknown. And so, even talking with staff today, the idea is staff is still going to recommend tomorrow that we do not take it over. But it's what the council wanted for tonight was, what is the public's opinion? And so that's really the goal for tonight.
I think, Joni, and that's a very good point. I think Winter Glow is going to be completely separate, and our $10,000 programming budget is going to be a drop in the bucket, if anything.
Yeah.
And you know, do we have a name for the program, or we don't yet?
No, we
No.
don't.
So in concept, and they would need obviously funding in order to drill it down, but just say in a unperfect world, we don't have Winter Glow this next year. If we had this program, then we would have some festive lights in each of the 3 major parks that the citizens could feel a part of by participating. And of course, only 36 families will be able to get trees, but still everyone would enjoy the lights when they were up. So would the commission entertain a motion to set a budget of up to 8,000 out of our programming budget to go towards this program as for final approval as we drill down maybe at the next meeting and get more details, understanding we'd still have $2,000 left if something comes up, like if Katie needs materials for the bike safety rodeo, or we have some other small thing, because we're obviously at this point in the year, we're not going to put together a swim program or do a lot of other programs that aren't already in place or that Mikhail's already working on. Would that be fair?
Yes,
Okay.
Do we have a name for this project?
not currently.
How about grow and glow?
Ooh, I like it.
Growing the trees and then they're glowing.
Or glow and then grow. I don't know.
I move that the commission allocates up to $8,000 for the purchase up to 36 trees for the Grow and Globe project, for lack of a better term.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Any discussion on the motion? Do we have any commissioners online?
No.
Okay. All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries unanimously. I think it's gonna be
Great.
kind of cool. I
Great
like
idea.
it.
Very good idea.
Yes, excellent. Good job, everyone. All right, next up, future of Winter Glow. I know you just touched on it. Anything else to say?
No.
The town hall is tonight at 6.
Please join us if you can. I did notice it as a public meeting, so we don't have to worry about a quorum or discussion.
And it's, where am I? Right,
Right next
right
door.
next door.
And if you haven't, you need to read the editorial in the Splash from Friday, was it?
Oh, I haven't read it yet.
So as far as in relationship to the costs involved.
And that's in the Splash, you said?
Mhm.
Okay, sign up for Park Plan Farmers Market Table. Jen?
July 26th, in your packets, that's the only day that we need to fill a slot from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the farmer's market. I'll be the staff person there the whole time. Nancy has the first slot. We can either fill it with one of you if you're interested, or we can have SCJ, a representative from there fill in that last 2 hours. So either way, if someone's interested, let me know and I'll put your name in. If I don't hear from anyone, then I'll just ask SCJ to attend, which I don't think that would be a bad idea to have them there, but.
Okay, does anybody have an interest? Farmers Market, July 26th.
I can do it.
You can do it?
Okay,
All right.
perfect. Thank you.
Put Gary down, and you know, that's at the farmer's market in the city. You've seen the city booth there before?
I'll be there.
Last,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
that's where I talked to Jim.
Great. And then next up, we have the, sign up for the park plan, the 4th of July barefoot table shifts. Now that's
On the back side of, we also kind of threw around the idea of doing a table at 4th of July for a couple hours because it's so busy with people and kids at that playground. So maybe as we get closer, we can see if that's still maybe of interest to,
So this on the back page is not Parks and Arts Commission.
No,
correct?
that's-
So what's gonna happen with Parks and Arts Commission is, and we'll maybe try to have, we need to have that at our next meeting,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sign up schedule. But we will have our booth at Barefoot where we usually have an activity. We'll probably gather some input on the playground replacement project. And the Barefoot event is gonna run from 10
to 4.
to
Yeah.
4. So we'll have 2-hour shifts.
I
Yeah.
can help with that.
Okay, so we'll get the schedule next time and we'll get everybody signed up. Are we going to share a booth this year with the Community Engagement Commission? Because we co-located last time, which was helpful if somebody needs to leave the booth for a second, then someone's still there.
I don't know. Do you want, I mean, we've each had a table
Yeah,
roughly.
but we just kind of went side by.
We won't be doing wristbands there, right? So we won't
No.
have the wristbands
Oh,
there.
that's
That's
huge.
huge,
That's
yeah.
huge if we don't have the wristbands there.
On the farmer's market schedule, I was just curious if there's other days that are needed, because I don't think every Saturday is noted here. Am I reading it wrong?
The only date that we have as Parks and Arts
Oh, I
and Parks
see.
Plan is July 26th. Everything else is the comp plan,
Okay.
related to the comp plan.
Okay,
If you
So-
really want to go, you could have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
well, let me see, what day are you on there? Nancy?
I'm on the 20th. I don't mind going. I'm in town, but
I already have a commitment on the
Okay.
26th, otherwise I would love to,
no, well.
but
Well, hopefully everybody has barefoot. That's when we're really gonna
Yeah.
need people. What's the date on that?
the
The
second.
second
And potentially on the 4th of July, but
and 4th.
that
of
might
July,
be
maybe.
so
So when's our next meeting is after the 4th of
July
July.
7th.
So that's a
Oh,
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't think we can pull it off that fast. And a lot of people are, yeah, let's,
Bang that.
if anything, I can see if SCJ, if they have someone who could do it, but.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can.
Mhm.
Okay, so just, check your schedules before next meeting for the barefoot event on August 2nd, and we'll get folks signed up for that. And do we want to, since we don't have to issue the wristbands, which is huge, because there's like this mob scene coming at you. maybe we go back to the rock painting. The kids had a lot of fun with that. There's these special little pressy pens and they don't need that many rocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of rocks. It's super easy, super inexpensive.
Yeah, because I think you're still gonna want to draw those kids in to get the information. about
Yeah,
the pavilion.
so we need to draw into the booth. So if we have rock painting, then while they're there, then we get the playground replacement thing. And Mikhail, you're gonna make some kind of a little interactive display for us?
I can.
Post-it
3D
notes.
printer?
You'll be sorry you ever came to the meeting. Mikhail. No, we appreciate you, but I know you had the little, you've done stuff like that before.
I think a
Whether
simple,
they do dots or,
simple, easy one, especially you want to get kids involved, is have some pictures and have smiley face, brownie face stickers. So if they like it, smiley face, they don't like it, brownie face.
yeah,
And especially if you want to get kids engagement, and then adults, same thing. They can say,
Yeah.
I like it, I don't like
Yeah.
it.
I just remember as you did last year that if we just let them write it on a Post-it note, there was crazy stuff on the Post-it note. So if we had something a menu they could order off of, it would be a little more productive. So.
Good idea.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. We'll do that. So now we're at item number 6. And park plan update, SCJ, and I think you have that?
Yeah, we don't have much of an update, so they didn't join us this evening, but we had our kickoff event on May 22nd. And we had about 18 people attend. I think we were hoping for a lot more attendance than that. But that's really all I have right at the moment.
Okay. Any questions? And SCJ, Gary, is the consulting firm that's doing the long-term park plan for the city. Ticket booth discussion. Does everybody see this email titled Gen Camp? And it's from Laura. Laura couldn't make it today, and she has updates on several items. Just briefly on the ticket booth, we have the Schneidmiller family and another architect that really like it to be back to the original. You'll see in your photos that it's been put back together so it won't fall apart and get us through the season. It looks very nice, but it's not authentic to the original ticket booth. So Laura has reached out to them. They may have a suggestion or a donation, but they need to think about it. So for right now, it's fixed for the summer. We have it to be incorporated into the mural next year, and we'll just wait and see what they have to say and then have it up for discussion again. Any questions? All right, Katie, you're up. Bike safety.
Okay, sorry, I still have to use my sunglasses because my eyes are still dilated.
You look really cool.
But anyway, yeah, we had a meeting this morning, and I guess I will just highlight the 2 most important things that relate to what we're doing coming up this summer is the Bike Skills Safety Challenge that we'll be doing at Barefoot. And so we're hoping to give away helmets to kids that need them, at 10 o'clock when they first open up. And then like I've talked to Mikhail about this also, 10:30 to 11:30 for about an hour, we'll run these bike skills stations on the basketball court, and we'll have that set up with signage. And so they'll learn, safely how to start and stop, how to signal turns, how to avoid objects, things like that. And I will be getting volunteers from the community to run those stations. A lot of them are bicyclists here in Liberty Lake. Well, they all are. And so that's kind of always the main concern because everyone else is busy, doing the rest of the things at Barefoot in the Park. But it'll just be an hour in the morning. Obviously, anyone from this committee that would like to participate, let me know. So the next thing is I talked to Mikhail about getting for each participant a water bottle, and this is kind of a similar water bottle from the Bike Alliance. So it has bike things about biking on it. And so a basic cost estimate would be about $13 a bottle. So that's what we have to kind of decide. We want to get, let's say 50, is $650. And then there's a little booklet that talks about bike safety all different things you need to know is about $4 a piece. So that would be maybe another $200. So
And-
that would be about 800, 850, if we want to do that.
Were those purchases approved?
Potentially. So he wanted to know kind of closer to the price. So now that I have that, I will run it by him. He said it should be fine. We would consider it as marketing materials, which are allowable to be purchased.
We should vote on.
And it's all promoting bicycle safety, just so you know.
So do you think if you get those two items, is 50 of each going to be enough?
I would think so, yeah.
And so would $1,000 cover it? It needs to be.
Yes.
Okay.
How many attendees are at Barefoot?
Like we've given out 700 to 800 wristbands on kids, and so families come as groups of at least one parent generally, sometimes two, so 1,500, I think is what we've kind of gauged the best we can.
So the bike rodeo would be,
So this is, people would have to know ahead of time if they want to participate, like 8 to 18 years. I don't know if we'll have a lot of teenagers doing it, but basically it's students that already know how to bike. They're just learning how to safely bike on the streets. So we'll advertise that ahead of time, so they have to bring their own bikes. So that's the people that will participate, is people that know they want to do this. They bring their own bike, hopefully a helmet. If they don't have a helmet, we have those.
could we get something in the splash?
Yeah, we'd want to kind of line it out and maybe have Katie
Right.
work with David Gaynor.
Would we have to pay for that ad?
I'm sure he could put something on the city's page
Okay.
in there.
So it'll be advertised in advance. And do they have to sign up, or they would come? And if we ran out of stuff, I guess it.
Just first 50, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we would have to have a parent there or guardian to sign waivers and things of that nature.
So if we budgeted $1,000 and you just buy however many you can for that, so maybe it would
Correct.
be a little over 50. If we have carryovers, we can hold them to a different year or something.
Yeah.
And how are the helmets? How do we determine that the need or eligibility, or how is that working?
Well, Scope, Liberty Lake has helmets that are already,
Allocated?
they're already donated. So I would just, and I brought those last year too to Barefoot. So we've got small, medium, we've got medium, large, extra large.
And they get to keep those, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're free. And they
Didn't
keep-
you give out about 80 helmets last year?
Yeah,
I remember.
I think we gave out about 60 or 70, yeah,
Somehow that number stuck in my head.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, I think it's a great program, and it's a great way of spending some of our programming money, and we have that 2,000 left, so we could easily allocate $1,000 of that if somebody wants to make a motion.
And we appropriate $1,000 for the bike safety helmet program.
Well,
Second.
Second that.
okay, any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to allocate $1,000 to the bike safety rodeo and helmet project. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please show the motion passes unanimously. Thank
So
you
would
for your
I
work
get
on that.
together with Mikkel then to finalize how that happens?
Yes, and then the city, I think you can order the.
Yeah, I'll do another double check with Kyle now that I have the
Okay.
price point, and then
Okay.
Okay,
go from there.
And Kyle is the finance director here, and there's rules for what you can spend money on. So that's why we keep going back on, it needs to be approved.
so there's another main thing that we talked about at our bike and pedestrian safety meeting this morning, and there's been an interest in having a Liberty Lake bike ride, which would go to all the parks in Liberty Lake. So I had talked to Mikkel about what dates are open as far as the city's concerned to have something like that. So we talked about the dates in September, and so we're thinking to do it on Sunday, September 7th, starting at 9 o'clock at the Rocky Hill Park. And Tom Solberg, who's on our committee, has outlined, it's the weekend after Labor Day, has outlined a course that goes around to all our parks and even a little bit on the Centennial Trail. So it'd be a really fun thing to do to, once the people of Liberty Lake can see all the wonderful parks that we have. And maybe this fall would be kind of a trial run, to see how it goes. And then maybe next spring have bigger publics, make it bigger. But this fall would be kind of our first attempt at doing that. And one idea I had possibly is maybe not for this fall, but even the one next year, is to have a person from our Parks Committee, a person at each park. And when the people rode their bikes to that park, like if Nancy's at Rocky Hill Park, she would talk about how great Rocky Hill Park is and all the amenities there. And, something like that. One of our parks people would be at each park talking about the park
Oh, that's
to the
cool.
bike riders. So that's just an idea.
I have a point of clarification though. So September 6th and 7th is the Rotary Rim Ride. I
Okay.
don't think it would be good to take away from
Oh,
the
yeah.
focus of that.
Oh, I thought.
That's a huge event.
Maybe we got mixed up on the date.
Whoopsie.
I did not have, they haven't started their paperwork yet, so I did not have that on my calendar, so I did
Oh.
not realize that.
I saw the
Okay.
booth, but I don't remember the dates, but
Okay.
those are the dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
6th and
kind of,
7th.
okay, so we're not gonna do it.
Okay.
So there was another date later in September,
Thank you.
the 27th of September. We could do it at the end of September.
That sounds like a better idea, because yeah.
Let's do that.
Uh-oh.
This is still working. I've had a coaching voice though.
Can you move over a chair?
No.
Will battery go out?
Okay.
Oh, and all kinds of technical troubles.
Should I just take this one? Oh, so anyway, let's go with the 27th. That's Sunday, the end of September. And at 9:00, starting at Rocky Hill Park.
Okay.
And then Tom will print out the map for us to look at the course.
And then you'll have,
And I can bring that to our next meeting.
and you'll have something published on the Liberty Lake page and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we'll follow up with Cal again on that.
Yeah, we'll have to go through the community event permit process with that, so you and I can work on that.
Okay,
Okay.
does that sound fun?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think it'll be super fun.
You have
And
a great group.
Yeah, and I think it'll be exciting too to just develop a course like that because we want the networking map to get developed in Liberty Lake, the bike pedestrian networking map with Ben Turner's going to be working on that. So this will be nice to have that course kind of routed out and, we'll check it out, make sure everything looks safe throughout and everything.
All right.
We might make some recommendations, if we need to, so, yeah.
That's great. Awesome. Well, I don't want to, I know Winter Glows at 6. So the Rotary Room photography, there are some pictures in our packet. I wasn't expecting pictures because we hadn't really talked with anyone. I know you have, Aubrey, but we didn't really give any parameters. But when we were at the town hall meeting on the park plan kickoff, I noticed that there really isn't much room between all the TVs in that room. And I think really and realistically, we're looking at, as you come in, a picture and a picture. So I think we're only looking at 2 pictures. So why don't we table this till next meeting? And you have the pictures that were submitted by the Ridgeline students as possibilities. But I think we might want to drill down, and I think the Pacific Northwest theme was mentioned, but I don't know. I think we need to talk a little bit more about what we want, because there's only going to be 2 and they really need to be statement pieces. So why don't we just table that for our next meeting? And we'll go at it there, because like I say, we're going to run into Winter Glow. So never forget garden electrical box. David, oh, the other thing is, see this piece of paper? Every year, the art, as you come into the event center at Trailhead is rotated. The new year's art is up, and this is what it looks like.
Great.
Derek helped coordinate that with the school, and they reframed them and took them out. It's recycling the new frames, and I think it looks great. So we'll have to look for it. You can see it in person if you're going to Winter Glow tonight. Okay, David, sorry.
It's okay. So the never ending, never forget garden electrical box. So after going back and forth with some suggestions from the Daughters of the American Revolutions, a lot of the things that they presented to me are like pictures of different exhibits and whatnot. And I think we spoke about not taking away from the plaque and what it stands for. So after doing research, the flower, the official flower is the orchid. It's not a red rose. It's not a red carnation. There's no mention of that whatsoever. You can go on the website. So my suggestion is to have an orchid. And I just took a stock image and sent that out, I believe, to you saw a copy of that. Is just to do a stock image of an orchid and cover the electrical box and be done with it. That way, as Laura mentioned, it does not take away from the actual plaque itself. The other suggestions from DAR were to use their logo, which we could still do, but I think the flower would look a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate Laura's comments about not taking away from the actual kind of memorial there. Is the stock art something we can legally use?
Well, that's my
Okay.
next step. So I just wanted to throw it out there. So make sure that everybody's okay with that. If we just did an orchid and found out what we can do and then have that converted into a vector file and then give it to the CJ Wraps, have them cover it.
I thought Laura mentioned there was a specific rose that
No,
was.
there's
not?
no rose.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, just.
So-
And I don't know
I don't know
where Laura got that idea, but I had the same one.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're right.
Yeah, the DAR, when they were here, they planned on planting a certain.
Yeah, but what was that rose? I don't.
But the
understand it.
rose is nowhere, there's nowhere mentioned. I went to the whole website.
Mhm.
There's nowhere mentioned of a flower. So I emailed Janet and I said, what specifically is a flower? And she says, flower was from the founder of DAR, that the flower they used was an orchid, and that's the official flower.
Oh, great.
I wonder if they have an image they have control over of an orchid that they've used in some of their materials. Could you at the next meeting get an image, 1 or 2 images, whatever you can get, and then we'll just hopefully be able to vote on it and
I
finish
could
it
do
up
that,
at the
yeah,
next
then we
meeting?
Get it to the never-ending
Oh,
Will
garden.
the DAR be planting some flowers there? I was just there yesterday and I noticed there's a very healthy big dandelion there, but
Oh.
really there's nothing, no specific flowers. And they did mention they would be planting,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. Roses.
Are you gonna be in contact with Janet? Could you ask her if they're planning on planting anything? Otherwise, maybe that's something your new person could take a look at enhancing. That's a good point. I haven't been over there for a while. Okay, so you're gonna ask Janet about the planting and about the image, and then if there's no planting, then your team, Jen, can take a look at it. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Pavilion Park Historical Outlet. Let's go back to Laura's email, the one that says Jen Camp at the top of the page. It's loose, not in your stapled packet. And we have Pavilion Historical Outlook. That's the top. There's no new updates. She has the dimensions, hasn't seen the details. Is this something we need to review and approve prior to ordering the base to accept the donation?
The donation needs to go through council, so yes, the commission should first approve the donation, accept and approve it. But and making the recommendation to council to accept and approve the
But we need
donation.
the donation form
Yep.
to be completed.
Yep. Yes,
Would you mind, yes, emailing Laura and see if we could get that donation? Okay. And then we have the Kramer Liberty Lake Together 2024 update, and that's the last item on that same email. It's taking her longer than she thought. Her new estimate is August or September install. We're looking at getting more information so we can determine the concrete base, so it will sit up off the ground and be more visible and protected from any kind of, water or erosion hazards or whatever. So hopefully, we're gonna get that finished this year since it's last year's project, but it looks like that at least it's on the radar now. So that's all the information I have about that. Any questions? Okay. Staff report.
So I only have two items. The first question is do we have a volunteer for July or for June 17th council report? I believe Laura in that email offered to put slides together for that.
Well, I'm in town and can do it unless somebody wants to. All right.
You're a professional.
Well, I'm gonna need someone probably to do it in September, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll do the June one. We'll go forward from there. So that's June 17th.
And the second item I have is, does everybody's city email work? And Noelle is the one who I think still wasn't working. Joni, did yours ever
I
work?
didn't go back and check it. I apologize. I was out of town when you
Okay.
sent that, so I do need to go back.
Okay,
But
let
I
me
know it
let me know.
wasn't. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that Bob Schneimiller's was not working.
Mine isn't working.
Yours
And
is-
Gary's city email, thank you, is not working. That's all I have.
Okay, our next meeting is July 7th, so happy 4th of July, everyone. Anything else for the greater good?
I wanted to recommend that Gary has access to maybe the last 6 months of meeting information. So for example, we were talking about the Liberty Lake Together so that you can see things like this that we've been talking about. So maybe if there's a way to send him,
That's gonna be a lot of documents. But he can go, I mean, he can have them if you would like them
But he can also watch
yeah.
he can watch the meeting.
on
Yeah.
the city's website if you're
And
interested.
the logo and all the information is on the website too.
Yeah. So I think if you have any questions, you can look on the website, listen to past meetings. Feel free to email myself or any one of us if you have a specific question like about the bike thing, and we'll keep on working, getting you up to speed because we want you to feel welcome and part of the team.
The only comment I had was about, do I have to ask you to put on the agenda next time about the swimming safety?
Well, right now it's in Mikhail's hands and he said he will give us a report. Now, every month, Jen and I get together and set the agenda based on notes and things, but she always sends it out to everyone to see if there's an ad for the agenda. But for that particular item, Mikhail, you've got that and you'll let us know when you're ready to put it back on the agenda. So it's not going to go away.
Great.
Thank you for asking. All right, do we have an emotion to adjourn?
I so move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody's opposed? All right, guys, and remember that if you want to go to Winter Glow, I kind of have a conflict, but I can't wait to hear what happens.
Is it right next door?
Yeah, it's right next door at Trailhead, and I'm guessing it's gonna be well attended. Of course, now that you can probably get a parking place, but, or you could walk over.
Walk over there.
Yeah. I have an appointment at 6:30. I'm really sad because I kind of was curious. It's been so advertised and a lot of people have been talking about it, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're adjourned. Thank you.